Welcome back, Yellowhammer Nation. It is Yellowhammer Radio, Superstation 101, WYDE. I am Scott Chambers.
Andrea Tice here as well, and we have Cord Sachs on the line.
Yes, we do. Mr. Cord Sachs from Fire Seeds, who's leveraging 15 years of recruiting and leadership development experience. Cord launched Fire Seeds to recruit dynamic leaders and install leader development strategies in world-changing businesses. We've been talking about boardroom to family room and all kinds of great stuff. Cord, it's good to have you back on the program, buddy. How are you?
Scott and Andrea, it's good to be here.
Glad to have you back on the program today, Cord. So the topic for today is, how do you know someone is trustworthy? So I think that's a pretty important question to know the answer to. So I've got to know, how do we know if someone is trustworthy? Cord, how do we know when we can trust someone?
Absolutely. Well, that's the question we're going to answer, and I'm going to give everybody a grid to think through as they ask that question. Because really, it comes up every day, all the time, whether we know we're asking it or not. I mean, think about it. Right now, a lot of people this season are asking, can I trust my accountant to find all my deductions?
I ask that one all the time.
You might be going to get your hair cut today, Andrea, and you're asking, wow, can I trust my hairdresser to cut my hair?
I'm going to get a haircut after the show. I hope he cuts it right.
Yeah, I just had mine cut. So, hey, can I trust that individual, a new babysitter, to come over and take care of my kids, and on and on and on.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Having a clear grid to think through, is somebody trustworthy or not, it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it's like the bedrock of all relationships, whether we realize it or not.
Absolutely.
It's the bedrock. So how would you define trust?
Well, very good. Yeah, I think you got to define it first. Let's get a really clear definition. And this is a definition we came up with as we're building all of our leader development monthly offerings through WildSpark. That's one of the foundational questions we had to ask first, because we've got to build a foundation for trust. And so the definition we came up with is trust is someone's confidence in someone's intent, ability, and execution. So I'll say it again. Trust is confidence in someone's intent, ability, and execution.
Okay. So you want to break those down for us? So, so that we get a better idea of, exactly how you determine someone's intent. I think ability is kind of, you can kind of spot that. But go ahead. You take it away and explain more.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me tell you a little story, too, to kind of give us a story we can refer to through these three lenses.
Okay.
There's one area I think that we would all say we're always hesitant, at least I am. I know nothing about cars. And so when I need to get my car fixed, I've got to take it to someone that I know that I can trust, because I know absolutely nothing about what's under the hood. And someone could take me to the cleaners pretty quickly in that scenario.
Yeah.
So I used to have a guy that I always took my car to, and he got old and he retired, and so I'm in a season where I had to find a new mechanic. So I started asking around, and not only did I hear this over and over and over again, but the individuals kept telling me, you got to go use Bob over at the garage off 31. And so after about the fifth person told me that, I said, okay, well, this is easy then. I'm at least going to go try and call Bob. So my scenario was, my son had been given a car from his grandma so that he could fix that car up, sell it, and buy a new car. He's going to be 16 this summer. And so I had to take this car to Bob and get Bob to look at it and say, hey, I need you to fix this thing so we can sell it. So Bob spends a half day looking at the car, all the little issues we thought could be wrong with it. And he calls me back and he says, hey, Cord, I want to tell you, so I got good news. I can fix everything on this car. But because I know what you want to do, you want to sell this thing and get some money out of it. If I fix everything on this car, it's not going to be worth enough money for you to make any money off of it. And so I think it would be better if you didn't use me to fix your car. So as I tell you that story, what do you think that did initially in my trust of Bob?
Well, my gosh.
You realize he was an honest person.
Yeah, that established a major element of trust in his intent to serve you in the best way possible, not in getting the money for himself.
Absolutely. And you said it earlier, trust, Andrea, trust is the foundation of every relationship. And so the first thing we're always thinking about in light of trust is, what is the person's intent? And really, intent is this. Intent is someone's sincerity that they have my best interests at heart.
Mm-hmm.
do they really want what's best for me regardless of the situation? And you can see here with Bob, obviously he knew my situation, and what was best for him was to fix this car and make a lot of money.
Right.
But what was best for me was that I didn't fix it at all, and I bypassed his service. And so because he showed me that level of intent, I now want to use him anytime I have a real opportunity for him to fix one of my vehicles.
Yeah. Wow, that's a great example. I wish we could all have that much clarity with the people we work with in exposing their intent.
Absolutely. There's no question about that. That's very, very interesting. So when I know that a person genuinely has my best interest in hand, Cord, and I know that I can trust their intent, what's the second part of the definition regarding the confidence and ability part there?
Yeah, ability. It's obviously, if I know someone has my best interest at heart, well, I still need to know they have the ability to do what I need them to do.
Right.
I need to know they have the knowledge, the skills, and the resources to do that well. And I look and I see that Bob has over 12 years of experience running the garage. He's told me about his mechanics and how they've come from reputable dealerships all over. I begin to understand and build that, hey, he does have the knowledge and he has the skills. And then as I go by his shop and I see this nice shop, it's organized and has all the mechanical apparatuses and tools, my trust in his ability to do the job is increasing. And so obviously if someone has my best interest at heart, I also got to know they have the ability to do the job well. Now let's say I were to come by Bob's garage and a tornado has taken down his shop. Well, Bob still has the knowledge and he has the skills, but he no longer has the resources to do the job well. So in that case, he no longer has the ability. But as long as those three things are in place, knowledge, skills, and resources, and then there's a track record for those, I should be able to have confidence in someone's ability to do the job well.
Okay, so you've talked about intent and ability, and it seems like those alone would be significant in choosing a person who is trustworthy, but you also add execution. So there must be some element to that is necessary. You want to explain that?
Yeah, that's right. And so there are plenty of things, and there are plenty of people that have our best interest at heart. And, they're able to do what we've asked them to do, but their execution is off. And so really the question here is, number one, is this a priority for them? And number two, do they have the capacity in this season to do that and to do that job for me? See, if I were to go to Bob and Bob were to tell me and show me his shop and I see his knowledge and his skills and his resources, he's already proven he has my best interest at heart. But if he tells me, yeah, I can knock that job out in a couple days, and yet he knows that he has 50 cars waiting, well, he doesn't have the capacity right now to do that well. And so capacity to be able to deliver is just as important as having the knowledge and skills. And so if someone, we all know people that we know they love us. They know that they care for us. They want what's best for us. They're completely able to do what we've asked them to do, but we just know when I ask them to do that certain thing, they're not consistent on the execution. And I'm going to be a little vulnerable here, and I'm trying to grow in this, but calling people back is one of those areas that I struggle with sometimes.
I think we're all guilty of that.
I mean, think about it. We have their best interests at heart. We really do want to talk to them. We want to help them. We want to converse with them. We're able. We know how the phone works.
Right.
We know we have their number in most cases. But for whatever reason, the busyness of life just keeps me sometimes from consistently calling people back when they expect to be called back. So I really have to manage expectations on the execution of my phone calls, because if I don't, I begin to lose trust with other people in the other areas. And so intent, ability, and execution all need to be in play for us to have true confidence when we go to someone else to ask them to do something for us.
Okay. All right. And then you mentioned mentioned your own area that you want to improve in. So how do we evaluate ourselves in these three areas so that we can grow, identify it, and then grow and become more improved with execution or whatever the area is?
Right. I think you just go down a simple list of when you think about intent. Do I really have the best interest or have the best desires to help that other individual? Do I really want to serve them? Do I want to give to them, or do I want to take away from that relationship. If you can answer positively to that, that's typically one we can check ourselves pretty quickly. We know whether our intent is good in that scenario. But then really on the ability side, asking ourselves the questions, do I know a lot about what I promised to do? Number one. Number two, do I have the skills and resources to do that? And then number three, simply, have I done this before? To where I have the confidence in my ability to be able to promise that to someone else. And then simply on the execution side, is this a priority for me? When I look in my schedule, do I have the capacity to come through on what I promised to do? And so if we give ourselves kind of that evaluation before we say yes and make promises to others, we will begin to earn people's trust more and more and more. And so sometimes the best thing we can do in a scenario to earn trust is to say, I don't think I could do that for you.
Right.
So a big deal here is we're learning how to build trust and then have a gauge as we think about trusting others to kind of have this definition of our confidence in someone's intent, ability, and execution.
Yeah, you brought up a good point, because even though you may not hit all three levels in that you are able to perform the last one, which is execution, even admitting it still reinforces the trust aspect, because you're being honest about where you're at.
Absolutely. And what most people want is they want us to be honest, they want us to be real, and we're all busy. So if we let people know that, they'll usually give us a lot of grace, and trust won't be hindered.
Grace is a good thing. That's for darn sure.
Trust and grace. It's a good combo.
I need it every day.
Amen, brother. Amen. Cord, it's been a pleasure chatting with you today. Unfortunately, that music means we are out of time and have like 20 seconds until the clock cuts us off. So we're going to have to wrap things up for today, but we'll chat again next Tuesday.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Cord Sachs with Fire Seeds. Tell everyone how they get in touch with you and Fire Seeds, sir.
Yeah, simply go to fireseeds.com. You can learn about how we recruit multiplying leaders, and then we help companies build leader development strategy to help build their culture within their organization. So love to hear from them.
All right. Appreciate it, Cord Sachs.